Hello and welcome to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I'm here with my co-caster Noman with a 4. Noman, how are you this fine Sunday Eve?
It is a beautiful day. You see what I did there?
Really
It's
nice.
an EU game. It's an EU game, and I'm
Wow.
excited for it. NightFiree. Tell everybody about it.
Boy,
Tell
coming in
everybody.
hot. Come on down. Today we have the beginners versus French Onward Union. Beginners versus French Onward Union, a diamond and master tier matchup. Should be pretty solid. French Onward Union definitely showing a lot of strength in the team, in their synergy later on in season 7. You know, putting good rounds up against beginners, pushing them pretty hard in the I think it was the semifinals. They competed pretty dang well in there, and they've been looking really strong. So I'm looking forward to how they're going to be facing off against the master tier team. Beginners, former OC5 champions.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic matchup. I am extremely excited. I mean, taking a look at the scoreline from last season's game, it was a tight one. Bazaar was taken by French Onward Union at the end of that matchup. So they were chipping away at him, and I wonder what they're going to bring to the table today.
Absolutely, and we are going to be hopping into our first map shortly, so we should dive into our pick bans of the day. From beginners, we have the Bazaar ban. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that makes sense. So that is the only map so far that French Onward Union was able to take away from beginners. So it's the safe bet for beginners to take it off the table. We were talking about this in pre-show, but these two teams have really only ever played 4 maps, and that is Bazaar, Quarantine, Cargo, and Downfall. And Bazaar looks like has turned the way of French Onward Union as of season 7, so it makes sense that beginners would drop that out of the lineup.
And then we also have the Cargo ban coming in from beginners. So we have 2 of their 4 maps to play in the map pool already off the table. And we are going to be going into Quarantine for our first map in this series. I'm excited. This is actually a really good way to kind of kick off this series, because I was concerned we were going to be forced into that slow play, potentially, you know, start something on like Downfall in an EU match. We'd be here for a while. You know, it's going to be a slow start.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Quarantine still has that potential, but it's just small enough that it usually forces some kind of quick play, and the spawns, you know, sort of play a big factor in that. So I don't know. The Cargo ban is interesting to me from the French Onward Union side, because
Yeah, you'd think.
I mean, I guess it is the shortest map. It's sort of the toss-up map, right? We talk about it being sort of like a coin toss because it's so short, so aggressive. Maybe they just don't have a good setup for it. Beginners have looked strong on it in the past. I believe they took. Did they take a? I think they took a Cargo round or map or 2 away from even Globo. So it kind of makes sense in that context, but realistically, between these 2 teams, you know, of those 4 maps, I guess that's one of the choices that you can ban. I don't really have a great...
Still waiting on both squads to hop into the lobby, but it does give us time to take a little look at the active rosters that they have today. Over on beginners, we have Dr. Killinger, Icy Woods, Woods 43, Smoils, and Kev. On the bench, they have Kush Berries, Sinkos, and Peasley. Definitely a strong roster on beginner's side. Hasn't been altered in quite some time. I don't think they've made any adjustments there in a long time, have they?
No, I don't believe so. Not that I can remember, at the very least.
Well, over on French Onward Union, we have Punisher, Bruiser, Bagul, Exodin, Mateu, Mike FJ, Picasso, and Toxic Kills. And on the active roster, it's Toxic, Mike FJ, Bagul, Bruiser, and Punisher. Captain Punisher. Is that a reservist or just the different... Oh, no, it's Punisher there. He's adding the captain there.
Correct.
That roster doesn't seem... Bagul seems... I don't know, maybe I haven't cast very many French Onward Union games. It's not often we get a chance to really watch an EU matchup, especially one between the top tier teams in EU. It's nice that they scheduled it on a Sunday for us.
Yeah, nice and nice and even on the time as well. Noon is pretty generous for an EU team. This is pretty late over there.
Mm.
So I'm pretty excited for it. That's why I jumped onto it as quickly as I did. These are teams that we just don't get a chance to watch enough, and the playstyles are so interesting and different from most of the NA matchups that we cast that, yeah, I'm really excited to bring it to the folks at home. And honestly, I'm just excited to watch it myself. You know, it's like my version of tuning into the game. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we'll see what beginners bring to the table. I do anticipate at least 1 or 2 possible fast plays. They have been incorporating different timings into their play style, and I think that's something that they need to do if they want to maintain that top tier level and stay in the master tier. You got to be able to also play fast and at a medium pace. You know, with 2 minutes, you have to be able to complete a round with a minute on the clock, with 2 minutes on the clock, or bring it down to 10 seconds. You know, that having that variety can throw off the defending team quite a bit.
I think that is what makes the top tier teams, right? They have both methods at least somewhat down. Mm-hmm. They've got the fast play, they've got the slow play. They know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. And I think that sort of level-headed approach is what makes them the top tier. But I think we're ready here.
Yeah, it does look like both squads are readied up. The round has begun, and we are diving in to round number 1, map 1. French Onward Union versus beginners, and we have a burning building objective to kick it off. And FOU are going to be sending 3 around to the west. No, just 2.
That's what it's looking like. I think they're just setting up. Yeah, I think in this these Volk buildings here.
It's the right move, though. Look at the spawn. The beginners have gotten that real fast north spawn that they can crash over onto this west lane with really quickly. And Smoils is looking for anybody that's crossed out, that's sort of lingering, and he's not going to spot anything because FOU have tucked in already real early. They're not going to... It's sort of a rookie mistake, in my opinion, to be sending out and crossing this street too late. Even now, right away in the round, you have to instantly get to your side and make your decision.
Yeah, that is a dangerous avenue. I mean, it's not just bad for this spawn. The crater spawn can catch you out as well if you're trying to cross North Street. So it's definitely important to get into these positions early. And seeing French Onward Union's positions here, they are tucked in. They are not allowing those long range shots to come out. You know, they've got Brazour here in the center burning, and he is just tucked in. He's not peeking up and over. Not giving beginners that opening shot. That's usually how they work, right? They grab themselves a pick or 2, and then they start making their push. So
a little pre-fire there, maybe through the ambulance, just to check if anybody's prone and looking. And yeah, you go look at the other side too. Bagul also tucked in behind this wall, just barely exposing himself. This angle is so hard to get a shot from, and I don't even know if Bagul can effectively shoot through this gap. He seems like, it doesn't seem like he's crouching, so maybe if he stands up tall, he can get the angle there. But yeah, he's minimizing his exposure here along this west lane. It's going to force beginners to get pretty exposed, commit to this cross before he starts to take the shots. And I think that's the French Onward Union defense strat, right? They're going to force beginners to commit.
Yeah, that's the best way to play. I mean, this objective in particular, just because the area around it is so open, it can be really difficult to defend once you lose a couple. So making sure you have as many alive until everybody gets into close quarters is going to be the best way for French Onward Union and to start this off right. I mean, they've got to get these Volk rounds, right? If they want this win, the simplest way, just keep holding your defenses, don't make mistakes. And I think that's what they're looking for here.
They have sent a couple over for a flank onto the south side. They're going to go real far. This is sort of a new rotation that players have been making, this really long range rotation on the back side of east. You go all the way here to these new some of the new additions from the graphic update have allowed, you know, some new rotations and a couple of new berms and Smoils getting that long distance cross. Just to the farther away you are, the harder you're to see, especially in VR. So, you know, maximizing the distance there, and Smoils does get across. No smokes having to be invested here. Doesn't tip off French Onward Union that he's over here. And I think now what's going to happen is beginners are going to sit still, wait patiently. They'll maybe have one approach from tank courtyard eventually, and then they're going to wait for these 3 on the north, and they're going to try and pinch with that 1 on the south. It should be an interesting play. They have 2.5, 240 left to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, a good example here, if you take a look at my view, this angle on Icy Woods that Bagul is holding, they've actually been looking at each other basically this entire time, but the render the render resolution for our screens is much higher than their headsets, so they're having a lot of difficulty seeing each other, but we are not. So it's a good example of how just a little bit of distance really shows
I mean,
how difficult it is to see people in the headset.
And we also have that highlight. You imagine just looking down that lane, it's so far. Without the highlight and the shadows, I think that's the idea, is actually to be in those shadows as well. Either way, the push starting to come in. A minute 52. Beginners are running a little low on time, and they're still pretty far away. But I always say this, and they always manage the time appropriately. So I'm sure Smoyle's well aware that he only has a minute 40 to get into position to allow his team to flank.
Yeah, they're starting to move in a little bit now. Kev, the only one out of position.
We may see an early kill. Smoyles can get the backside
I'm ready.
of Toxics here. He should actually see him removing. I don't actually know if he spotted him. Yep, he did.
In the rooms outside, like east side of rooms.
And that could be bad. A nade does come in. It's a smoke right onto the nose, perfectly smoking out Toxic.
Yeah, the call-out's coming out. Should be aware of this approach. They've got to have those defenders in the west start rotating back towards the objective. All of beginners is setting up on the east. Such a strong position right now, but they've only got 43 seconds to finalize this push.
Nade's not effective. They try to toss him onto Toxic and get him down here. Kev does see him, doesn't actually spot him here. It's Toxic finally getting picked off. Woods is here on the backside of objective, and they are losing. This could be an easy cap for beginners. Bruiser's not going to push out. Nobody's pushing here, and all 5 are punching in the code. And beginners, with commanding control of objective, nail themselves a nice cap. How much time was left on the clock when they punched that in?
Pretty much none. They were down to... They hit time right as he punched in the code. It's about a second left, and then the timer ticked over. So yeah, it was a pretty much buzzer beater cap, taking a little longer than some of the quicker cappers, but still a very good play. And yeah, French Island Union getting caught out there, sticking to the west for
too long.
For a little bit too long. And beginners is really just kind of walking in there. They really only had to get 2 kills to get that cap.
I really wasn't thinking much about their how weak their defense really was on the front of their objective. You have to have pretty strong coverage just for that scenario. If you lose control of that front rubble, the caps are pretty easy to get in for the enemy team, because they can crouch behind that wall, punch in the code. And so it's a pretty standard attack strategy to try and smoke and push this rubble area to enter in that pad code. And yeah, when there's 40 seconds left, I think a rotation has to come in. You have to stop committing to that west hold and start to tighten in on objective, because you have to expect something to happen around the OBJ.
Yeah, exactly. That was something we were seeing in the G-Men Global Chem game yesterday. Was as time got more and more precious for the defense, Global Chem and G-Men both were constricting around the objectives, slowly over time. So yeah, it's something that French Shower Union and they're clearly lacking, but we'll see if they're able to put together some kind of an offense here on Q1. I mean,
what's interesting is they had gunshots there on the nose, and Bruiser stayed in the stairwell. He didn't decide to push out and try and check that rubble area. Maybe just everybody too scared to check out, because it is beginners. They wanted to try and hold their angles instead of rotating. That's the only thing I can think, really.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been a good indicator that by 2 minutes or a minute and a half, there was really nobody running the flanks. That's a good indicator that they're likely just going to push middle. If they don't make themselves known early, then I can't imagine that I would continue watching that angle for the rest of the game.
Defensive smokes thrown by beginners to allow Kev to cross the street. He'll position himself over by the tankers. Maybe rotate around to the other side of the ambulance. And that gives him a nice angle onto the north hill, which is where French Onward Union have spawned.
Yeah, and they're taking pretty much the same approach as beginners. They're not crossing anybody to the south just yet, and at this point it would be a little bit too dangerous with icy woods and the rubble watching that angle, but they are taking that center and northwest approach. I really want to see them utilize the northwest approach a little bit better than beginners did. They sort of gave up on it, rotated back, and pushed mid. But I think that northwest approach is so strong. Usually you only have one defender, maybe two, committed to that side, and as we see, for beginners, it is just Smoils in the village towers here, in the Volk towers. And if you get him down, it really forces the defense to have to split their time. You know, it's a war of two fronts, so to speak. So I'm interested to see if FOU will push that or if they will recommit to the middle just like beginners did on theirs.
After seeing that push, though, I like the 5-man stack to crash in on the front side of this objective. I don't really know why we haven't seen it more often. It kind of seems to me like that strategy is a pretty solid one. If you can get all 5 up into this corner, if you can pinch around it like they did, getting one across the south street, a solid move to really try and... Because the west you can get hung up on. There's a lot of different spots that beginners can defend from. They can there's a bunch of different buildings, 2-story, 1-story, and different angles that they can shoot that west from. So I feel like I do see teams get caught here on the west more as Smoils.
Not dead.
Wow, finds one.
Yeah, he does find that down. The smoke's going to come out. Trying to go for that res. Looks like Smoils is just going to hang out. Yeah, he's... I don't think he's going to push that. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he will push it. Yeah, the shots do ring out. Punisher having a little bit of a struggle here walking back to get the res, but should be coming out now.
Yeah, that is a rough spot to go down. Almost making it to that corner where he can't find those shots. And in the meantime, we've had a bit of a nade trade over here in the center. Nades getting thrown around. Nobody going down yet. Bruiser nearly landing one onto Icy Woods, and they got to know he's here now. Especially after these nades have been tossed. And wow, that's another great smoke to completely smoke that lane to allow the cross to the nose. Smoils doesn't have vision anymore.
Yeah, these are set up nicely.
Wow, another great smoke
as well. These are fantastic. A little bit of defensive grenades coming out. Killinger's going to find Captain Punisher in the northwest.
Smoils, in the meanwhile, has just been pumping rounds down that lane through the smoke. But they have to move now. The smokes are going to be going out in a couple more seconds. They do get one across. Icy Woods finds Bagul. Mike and Bruiser are here, though.
Yeah, Icy Woods hearing this, pre-firing the corner, does find Mike. Bruiser not there for the refrag, and now it's just 2v5.
Got one on the west. Smoils not really aware of Toxic over here. Bruiser does get one. French Onward Union may be able to muster something here if Toxic can find the backside of Smoils and Bruiser can manage to catch another kill here. Icy Woods is going to get aggressive on the corner, and Bruiser winning that trade as well in a nade. Just a flash. Bruiser with a heal.
Kev is going to find him from ambulance as he tries to rotate back to the rooftop courtyard, and now it is just up to Toxic in the northwest. Minute and a half left. 3 beginners to get through. Not sure what he's going to be able to put through, but I don't think they're expecting him from this angle, so he does have the advantage, I think. At least in the first engagement, he should have an advantage.
I wonder if there's any potential of sneaking through the defense here and getting a backdoor cap. I just don't think it's a real possibility. He has a minute 13 left, so he's going to have to start making his moves here soon.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I don't know. Smoils doesn't cover that street for just a little bit of time. Toxic could sneak in there.
Well, he's going to have to try to do it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, between the amount of time it takes to pull out a tablet and type in the code, he's got about 25 seconds to get all the way to objective past Smoils without alerting Killinger somehow.
Yeah, going for the kills here actually would be the better investment. 36 seconds left, though. He's going to have to go for them soon because otherwise beginners are really going to start to tuck in and just ride that clock out. And I wonder if Toxic is aware of his time limit here.
He should be now, as his watch will beep at 30 seconds. So in the last 20 seconds here, he should be aware of his lack of time. He takes a couple of shots down on Smoils, gives the position away. It's not looking like it's going to go in the favor of FOU, and indeed, beginners pick up their defensive round, go up 3-0.
You know, I think if they had had 2 or 3 more in that center push with Bruiser getting a couple of picks, it would have been the right way to invest their players. They didn't really get too much success over on that west side. If Toxic maybe had gone a little bit faster to kind of apply pressure onto Smoils while Bruiser was also getting kills on the nose, there could have been some magic happening there, but beginners diligently defending, and yeah, it's a 3-0 advantage right now on map number 1.
So we're just now switching objectives. So this is the first new objective since we started this map. Beginners getting that first cap and the defensive win. So we'll see if maybe they just had, you know, a lapse in judgment on a particular OBJ. Maybe French Onward Union can pull something out of the hat here and stay in the series early on. I mean, the score lines so far for Quarantine historically for these teams have really gone 4-0, 4-1. Maybe 4-2 in the way of beginners each time. So I think French Onward Union is going to be looking to try to up that value a little bit, trying to get a little bit more bang for the buck on Quarantine versus beginners. So far, though, beginners holding strong and not really giving up too many yards.
This is more representative of, I would say, their pre-season 7 matchups. Beginners have historically won over French Onward Union. I don't even know if French Onward Union have ever taken a series against beginners.
They have not.
Okay. So, I guess not terribly surprising to see, but I was at least hoping French Onward Union could get a round or 2 on the board, and they still do have the opportunity as we go into round number 3 of map 1. And I did my math right. There was a cap that came in from beginners, so don't you question me, chat.
Chat's misbehaving as usual, so I don't think they really, I don't really think they care. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, this crater spawn is advantageous for French Onward Union. It's the best approach. Those quick spawns in the northwest can be real devastating to a defense that's not set up for it. So if they can stay tucked in, not lose too many early, this shouldn't be too difficult of a defense, even against the slower play style of beginners. The spots from which you can cap are so, you know, kind of set in this map that you really only need 1 or 2 angles to be able to cover most of the OBJ.
Getting a little trade and fire here between that plane wing and Kevin on the north side. A real long-range angle there. And interestingly enough, beginners have managed to get one across again. Smoils, the master of crossing this street without investing in smokes. I really just think he goes for the distance. He goes long range on the opposite side and just tries to make himself as hard to view as possible. Gets into the shade of the overhang and makes him pretty tough to spot. And now he's managed to get onto the south side. May have a backdoor opportunity onto a lot of these defenders on the south. I don't know if anybody's watching the berm here.
Yeah, it would just be the south plane wing, but he's going to have a hard time against 2 members. It looks like the callouts have come out. Smoils finds Mike underneath the south plane wing. Toxic, the only one remaining on that south side. Killinger finds another.
Woods should have a nice clean angle onto the roof. Toxic does find Smoils, and somehow Woods doesn't see Toxic on the plane wing. I think he's just getting camouflaged into the window there. He can't see it. He's not taking any shots there.
He's not really even over the hill
Yeah,
just
you're
yet.
right. He hasn't peeked up over there.
He's just watching the OBJ, looking for a rotation. Killinger making the call out that he dropped one on OBJ, so I would imagine that's what Woods is looking for, is that rotation back to the objective.
Right. Absolutely right. I see Woods actually putting some fire onto the south wing, and that's getting called out, and so that may be bad news for Toxic if he's not ready for the shots from Woods 43 on the south.
Yeah, there it is. And now Brizzer rushing back to the OBJ. Could be fodder. Yes, indeed. Kev finds that headshot long range, and now it's just one member of French Onward Union way off objective. Captain Punisher in the garage here is not going to be very effective.
They're pushing. After Kev getting all those picks, you could hear the call-outs from beginners to move, and here comes that crash into the tank courtyard. They are getting danger close to that objective, and Captain Punisher rotating back in is definitely going to be under quite a bit of fire. Nades, smokes. He has not got an easy job defending here. He still has one on the south he has to worry about, but they have to kill him here if they want to get the objective.
And there it is. Woods 43 off the South Hills finds himself, I think, the third kill on the round there, and beginners will take the first map 4-0. Pretty interesting series overall. I mean, that cap really sort of set the tone for map 1, I think, for French Onward Union. After that, I don't think they really recovered. And I'm not really seeing that, you know, that sort of stick and move rotation that I see from a lot of the top tier defenses on Quarantine. You really do have to keep your head on the swivel. It's not one of those maps where you can just sort of sit in one spot the whole map and, you know, be able to spot anybody crossing. You gotta be active. So I'm interested to see what they can do here as we get into map 2.
That was beginner's map pick on Quarantine, and now we go into French Onward Union's map pick, and interestingly enough, it is Downfall.
Yeah, so we are going to be playing two of the 4.
Oh, I guess not. I guess not. Interestingly enough.
yeah. It's 2 of the 4. The third one, though, that's going to be the real wild
that'll be a real spicy one. But French Onward Union really got. It'll only be spicy if if the series decider.
Yeah, and you know what? This is it's a spicy pick because I don't know that I would pick Downfall versus Beginner. Like, I would not want to be starting on Marsoc versus Beginners, knowing what I know about their playstyle and their long-range capabilities. It's an interesting choice. French Onward Union must be still feeling quite confident to pick into a map like this as their second map. But we will see. Yeah, I mean, the third map choice is going to be interesting nonetheless. I'm wondering if we'll see another subway. We've seen a lot of subways in cast recently. I mean, a map that's been making a resurgence.
I suppose this is a map that French Onward Union can sort of potentially surprise beginners on. Just doing the overhead look at the map and understanding some of the different adjustments. New little berms and trees and overhangs and different bushes have provided all sorts of new and interesting spots for players to take and defend from. I expect to see at least 1 or 2 new rotations out of French Onward Union trying to come in on objective and potentially even on defense. We saw a real interesting bush defense up in the north the other day, and I mean, it's effective. Everything is rendered, you know what I mean? So if you're camouflaged into a bush, it's pretty hard to see unless you're getting shot at from it.
Yeah, and there's quite a few of those same bushes around the map, so there's a lot of different opportunities for both sides to take advantage of it. And it's not one of those that really you benefit from being Volk or Marsoc. They seem to be pretty agnostic in terms of the camouflage they provide. So we'll see if any of the teams use something interesting like that. And what I'm going to be looking out for is those dirty snipes, those little snipes.
Oh yeah,
map. I love me some sniper play on Downfall. One of my favorite things to watch. So we'll see what the teams are bringing here.
Diving into round 1 of map number 2, beginners versus French Onward Union. Beginners on the defense and putting out some early defensive smokes, allowing them to rotate up into that back building without getting shot from what was French Onward Union's spawn. But FOU not looking for any early shots and instead deciding to maybe stay a little bit more stealthy on their spawn point.
You know what I find interesting? They do have Bagul on French Onward Union running the SA-80, but no mag trades in the beginning. I think it's so rare to see machine gunners not hand out drum mags to their teammates. It seems like one of those sort of, kind of duh, just take a
Yeah.
ton of bullets. Why wouldn't you give them rounds? So an interesting choice there. I wonder what the thinking there is. I know there are some players who, opt to play with the limited mags, but it's, I don't see why on downfall you would want to limit yourself in ammo.
So the only thought is that they want Bagul to have all the ammo because he's going to be constantly suppressing Smoils, who's tucked himself in this back building that Bagul is looking at very patiently. That's the only thing I can think of. He needs all the ammo he can for a 5 minutes left of the round to suppress that as FOU decide to make their push. But I don't know. It's it's a lot. It's a lot of ammo.
Yeah, we're gonna test that theory out. I'm sure. I'd love to see. He goes through 3 clips. I'll put some money into the Onward Twitch channel. How about that? Because if he can put 3 drums into anything on downfall, I'd be surprised.
Without
But
getting
yeah,
shot back, yeah.
I mean, we're seeing this sort of this is the classic EU setup, right? 2 teams sort of just waiting for the other to make a mistake, to get caught out before they make their push. So French Army Union committing to this northern and eastern push, but just waiting it out. And beginners not likely going to be the ones that are going to be caught out doing something silly. They will, generally speaking, hold their angles until they've got some idea of the approach. And there's some of the shots coming out from Bagul, the suppressing shots you were talking about.
They are nicely timed, and they have allowed Mike to push up to this front APC wall, where he does have some decent angles into that center 2-story, or 3-story, excuse me. Killinger may expose himself if he's not too careful here. Mike, this is so hard to see Mike, too, against this wall, so tucked in like this. Especially with the Marsoc, you really blend into these walls.
Yeah, it can be a really tough thing to see. I mean, the distance and the color blending really makes for a tough time, especially on a map like Downfall, where sort of it's the same color everywhere you look. It can be pretty tough to spot a couple of moving pixels. Getting a little bit closer. I mean,
Yeah.
Punisher here is he's within striking distance, but he's gonna have a hard time getting Smoils out of that basement window. That's a pretty common one between him and Kev. It's gonna be a tough window to clear. And I don't really know the approach here. I mean, it has to be smokes on your cross over to the 2-story helicopter, and then I think you just try to take it up West Street rather than pushing directly through center and helicopter. It's just too wide open, too many angles to cover. So I don't know if Mike is going to be really effective other than to catch rotations.
There is 1 clip down for Bagul.
Ooh. We're just both watching him the whole...
Well, when you press G, it's who you go to, because he's really the only one putting out rounds so far on this map. Woods actually answering back with shots of his own, does find Captain Punisher. It isn't Bagul who was putting out the suppressive fire right over to where Woods was in this building.
Some more ammo being dumped down that way. I mean, there's really not a lot of movement from Marsoc during the suppression. That's what's kind of concerning here. Bagul taking a couple of shots from Center Hotel as he comes down to West Red Truck, and now the smokes are starting to come out.
Yeah, and I mean, French Onward Union have a pretty good rotation going here. Bruiser and Toxic on the far east side. They're on the back end of the beginner's defense, and Toxic is up in the 2-story now, although Bruiser does catch out, or get caught out, excuse me, by Smoils on that bottom floor, and now it is up to Toxic to try and find these frags. He has the backside of Kev easily. Smoils peeking, can't find the refrag just yet. 57 seconds left on the clock. Mike trades. Excuse me, Mike.
Yeah, Mike finds himself a kill. Killinger downs Bagul as he crosses out in the open. The smoke's dissipating. You got to stay low when you make that cross. Center Hotel is so dangerous. Now Toxic has to be aware of that positioning, but he's going to have to get through Smoils in 30 seconds to do it. Just these two remaining. I mean, Mike has to start making that push up through the middle. Right now, beginners are so focused on that west side. This is the time for him to make that cross.
Toxic also rotating around. Mike may hear Smoils communicating. Botches the smoke toss up to objective. Icy Woods finds Toxic trying to rotate around to that far west side. And now it's all up to Mike with a smoke out onto OBJ. 8 seconds left on the clock. Tries to take down Smoils, and I don't think he's going to be able to push up there in time. And beginners with the kill actually secure their defensive round and go up 1-0.
Yeah, that seemed a little disjointed to me overall from the French Onward Union side. A little bit of missed coordination there between Marsoc pushes, not really capitalizing on the smoke or the suppressing fire. And beginners just sort of able to easily pick at them one by one as they came down. A little bit more coordination there. I think that could have... That west approach, I mean, they'd gotten across to the northwest side. And it was looking real good until Smoils gets the refrag, and then it was just Toxic struggling to find any kills. Nobody was really making a lot of noise. Defense was too focused on him, and beginners grab themselves the first round of map 2. Now French Onward Union going to be putting up a defense, and I'm curious to see if their defense is better on quarantine or on downfall than it is on quarantine.
Yeah, we'll see, and we'll see if beginners have any new tricks up their sleeve with the enhanced and adjusted downfall as we go into round number 2. Map 1. Or map 2, sorry. Jeez. Map 1 was so fast. 4-0 for beginners. The cap, too, nonetheless. What was the time on that map, actually? We should have checked.
It was pretty short. I think it was about 22 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, and you know, we saw those pre-smokes coming in from beginners to get up to that spot, and it's exactly why those came out, because Smoils just getting an early pick on that rotation, and they, all right, we got our kill. Let's drop back. We're up 5v4. No need to pressure. No need to get up there in their face, and they're going to rotate all the way around to the south and try and make their approach from there.
Yeah, some communication there about their positioning coming out from the Woods brothers. Sort of calling their play. 2 in the south, 2 coming through mid, 1 in north, which is exactly the setup we're seeing. So, I mean, these are clearly practiced plays. You know, these teams have definitely, or beginners at the very least, have put in quite a bit of time refining some of these approaches. So, not surprising to hear those kinds of call-outs, and Woods now putting a ton of ammo down towards Berserk. I wonder if he's actually spotted him or if that was just check fire, because that would be a very tough angle to actually spot somebody out in.
Oh, it seems like it's just pre-fire, but it does almost cost him his life as some additional rounds start to come at him up there in that window, and he drops off that opportunity. In the meanwhile, we have shots coming in from Kev, who has rotated all the way over to the south, and wonder if that's also just pre-fire. Beginners not afraid to give away some positioning just to check some corners and put some rounds downrange.
Yeah, we're seeing the same basic approach, right? Suppressing fire, push up some of your members. I think the key here has been that communication from beginners is a lot stronger. So there's a lot more coordination with who's laying down the fire, which members of Marsoc are making their approach. But still a ways out here. 3 minutes, 40 seconds. I think we're unlikely to see much of a beginner's push unless they can find a pick or two early. So far, French Onward Union not really giving them too much of that. They are down a man already, so staying tucked in is the right approach. They just have to make sure they're close enough to OBJ, and it looks like, for the most part, they are.
Killinger and Icy Woods making their way up this north side. New walls and hills have really made north a lot more accessible than it used to be. It was a much harder lane to approach from, and now that you have just a little bit more cover, it makes it a lot more appetizing for teams, and we're seeing that being a preferred route as Icy Woods and Woods 43, the brother duo, start to make their rotation. Very similar to how French Onward Union did.
Yeah, and we'll see if that helicopter 2-story has a little bit more luck on the defensive side for French Onward Union. There's quite a bit of suppressing fire still coming up from the south as 2 members of the beginners cross. Make those belly crosses.
Yeah, this is purely suppressive fire just to ensure that nobody checks that window as they do get across there. And Kevin Smoils are nicely over as the south starts to cross the north, gets some kills. Icy Woods and Woods 43 finding some picks of their own here on the north side. And look at how far Woods 43 is up there. He's got an overwatch position all the way over, way back on the west using one of these new berms.
And an interesting smoke put down there by Killinger. He's going to toss the nade into the building. Captain Punisher just out of reach. Now it's just 2 members. Bagul finds Woods 43 on that approach in the far east. And Punisher finds Killinger as Killinger's not able to spot him as he comes through the room. Now beginners down to 3, down to 2 as Smoils goes down as well. Now it's a 2v2. French Onward Union looking real good here for this defense.
A minute 16 left. This is where beginners' timing does start to play an effect on how they can approach the objective and what rotations they have available. They are in pretty good spots, though. Kev and Woods nicely on opposite ends of objective and pretty close to it, but Captain Punisher and Bagul also in pretty good spots to defend against any rotation. So 55 seconds left. We'll see what beginners decide to do and how much ammo does Kev have left in that clip. I wonder. Bagul decides he wants to test it out in trading.
I see Woods does find Captain Punisher inside of the 2-story. Now it's just Bagul, 42 seconds left. He's got 2 to defend against, and Kev is not going to be easy to get off of that center hotel, but now he's got fire from 2 sides. Kev does find the kill in the end, and beginners go up 2-0, map 2.
Definitely one of the stronger defenses from French Onward Union, but beginners just really... they they converge on the objective at the same time, and I think that's the key, is that perfect synergy between all 5 to crash in on the objective and apply pressure on all these different angles. It makes it so hard to effectively defend and communicate with your team when you're getting pressured from all sides.
Yeah, the war of 2 fronts is it's a problem in real war as much as it is in video game war for that exact reason, right? You can't really split your time like that. You've got to make sure that you can be focused on the angle that you're pushing, and losing Punisher there. I mean, I just don't know that Punisher should have been watching Center Hotel along with Bagul in that situation, because they were both sort of focused on that south push and let Icy Woods have free reign of the west. But they may not have spotted him. I don't actually remember if Icy Woods was putting down any fire there until the end.
I think it was just his brother way up over on the that high hill. And I think once they got that kill on him, they thought that they had secured anybody approaching from that northwest side. Not the case, and we'll see how French Onward Union decide to attack our next objective as we dive into round number 3 in map 2.
Some early smokes from the defense coming out, trying to get that cross to the crater building. A little unnecessary as FOU spawns in the Marsac Hills, does not opt to take the early peaks. It's one of those things that, like, as a fast player, as an aggressive player on an aggressive team, I always find it, I don't know, it's so interesting that some players will opt to not even really like. It's not like you have to put, you know, rounds down range, but to not really take a look and try to catch defenders rotating into their positions, just so you have some idea of what you have, you know, ahead of you. It's always an interesting choice for me. I know that, you know, obviously you can get picked off. It's a dangerous thing to do, but I feel like the benefits usually outweigh the negatives of it. And we'll see if French Onward Union here is going to be ready for these positions. I mean, they're not an uncommon spots. I mean, this is pretty much, if you're taking a look at the top down, it is pretty much spot on the defense you should have for this objective.
Yeah, they got the nice kill box going on around it, and Killinger across the way there to guard the crater, to guard the outside. He is really their sole defender there, though. The best approach would be for French Onward Union to come in from the north outside. And they take down Killinger, and beginners have a pretty weak hold on objective.
It really is going to come down to who gets the first pick. I've noticed that really controls the pace of downfall. Is who goes down first, because then it forces not a more aggressive play style, but sort of a looser play style to try to make up for the lack of player, right? There's so much ground to cover. You kind of have to be quick and constantly shifting your focus. So the team that generally goes down one will struggle to make their comeback in any given round on downfall. And so far that has been the case. French Onward Union, usually losing one early and then struggling for the rest of the round. I mean, the only difference was in that last defensive series, they looked pretty good until the very end there when Kevin Icy Woods got their 2 quick picks. So we'll see who the first is to go down here. I'm calling my shots, you know. Whoever goes down first, that's the team.
Wow, really nice.
Gonna take the run. Yeah, on the corner pocket, you know, getting it right.
Sorry, I just almost fell asleep here. It's been 3 minutes, and no shots, hardly any movement, no smokes, no utility. French Onward Union just taking their time, and we are buckled into a top-tier EU matchup here as we burn down the clock. Icy Woods able to finally find one as he gets Toxic trying to rotate a little bit over aggressively there on the north side.
And now we're going to have to see how French Onward Union adapts to this 4v4. They're not really put out. I mean, they still have the correct approach on the south and east side. They've just got to go together. The key here is coordination in their push. We're seeing the smokes coming out. Now they've got to start capitalizing on it. I've seen this a lot as teams throw these smokes out and then they just kind of sit and wait and hope the defense will just run out into them or run out to check them. I don't really know what the thought is, but Bagul actually making use there. Pushing up to center hotel. That's going to be a good bunch of ground to cover. If he can get up high there, then Kevin Smoils are not going to have an easy time suppressing that area, and Bagul takes a little bit of friendly fire.
And then Captain Punisher getting some rounds tossed at him as well as he tries to make his way in here. And now I think the comms are clear. They know Bagul's on the roof, and so does Kev as he finds the shoulder shot. Bagul real lucky he didn't get headshot there.
Bagul is not having a good round right now. First bullets from the home team and then from the away team. I mean, it's a whole thing with this rooftop. And now the suppressing fire coming out on all fronts. The res does come out. Wow. Mike finds Woods now, and that opens it up a little bit. Now they don't have that easy east watch from the helicopter bungalow. It's just going to be the rooftop and the west, and now we're seeing the smokes crashing down. Defense starting to rotate a little bit. Kevin Smoils a little bit more careful. They are susceptible from a south push here. They just have to get Killinger out of the crater building. That is the primary objective, but Killinger is going to be the one that finds the kill there on Mike. Kev gets captain, and French Onward Union falling apart at the seams a little bit on this really promising offensive push.
Yeah, they had Bagul on the overwatch. The smokes actually ultimately hurting them because Bagul couldn't see those windows. It allowed for Kev to hold these, Kev and Smoils to hold certain angles and get those kills. And now Bagul trying to rotate, nearly going down to Icy Woods, and in a bit of a firefight with him as Killinger finds himself another. And here comes Bruiser trying to come down, and they just have not dealt with Killinger in this crater building in this 2-story, and he is wreaking havoc. Finally, Bruiser takes him out. Smoils peeking around right off of those shots, and Beginners really nicely done. Go up 3-0, and I think Smoils just burnt the body there.
He definitely did. He doesn't want any evidence of the murder. Getting out. Yeah, and it looked so good there for just a moment, but missing those key shots on Killinger, Mike going down on that push south to the outside. Obviously, Smoils was ready for the rotation, but as long as they had folks on the roof, it was still okay. I mean, it was a worthwhile push to make, but falling apart there, not able to unseat Crater. And French Onward Union on the back foot again. 3-0, looking to stay in the series on this defensive win. I mean, it's all about momentum now, right? I mean, Beginners have built up quite a bit. They're gonna have to find a way to slow them up a little bit and get.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna have a real blowout here. I think Beginners are gonna take this 4-0 here the way they're playing, and I think whatever map 3 we go into, it's gonna be real hard for French Onward Union to get any momentum back. If they just don't look like they're really, it's hard to go up against Beginners. That's something to definitely note. Whether you're an EU or NA team, Beginners are not an easy squad to take victories against, but I'm just not sure what FOU could be doing better to really put themselves into better positions.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a clear cut. You know, they haven't been making a ton of mistakes.
No, I mean, they've been very disciplined with their positioning. They just they tend to lose one early, and maybe it's a little bit of over-aggression on pre-firing and shots early from FOU that's causing that early loss, and then you have a gap in your defense.
Yeah, the center hotel opting to not re-peek is going to be the proper choice here. And call-outs coming out there from North Hotel. Bagul's position well known now by the Beginners, and we're starting to see the setup of this. You know, they're constricting offense, right? They're not overcommitting to any one side. So I would imagine we've got about 2 minutes here before the Beginners get into position, make their final approach, especially if they're not able to find a pick early.
Almost didn't dive into the gameplay, but it's all right. You just missed a minute and a half of positioning. I'll give you a quick overhead on where they are. And yeah, nothing was missed. I just here we are.
That is one of the benefits of the EU matchups. Sometimes you can leave the overlay up for just a little longer.
We should just play a highlight reel for like 6 minutes after a round, and then wait until the 3-minute round mark, and then, hey, we're here for a EU match. All 5 alive still with 3 minutes left.
It's like the NFL red zone of the Onward Master League, where we just wait until
yeah. We should,
within 200
that's how we gotta
meters.
handle it. That'd be a great way to handle it.
We could cast 2 games for the price of 1, you know? Have 2 different approaches, but a lot of fire being traded. I mean, a lot of these positions are known for both sides. They're just not finding the angles they need to get the picks. And Woods, 43 with the first pick onto Toxics.
Yeah, he tried to find shots on the Killinger, missed them early, and then was quickly punished. Nearly did headshot Killinger, though, so it could have been a nice surprise position, but yeah, as soon as those shots rang out, he was dead.
I mean, to be out in the open like that as well is really dangerous in general. But now we're seeing the fruits of that labor as Icy Woods and Killinger making their push from East Red Truck down towards. Now they got that clear lane. Killinger opting to still take the slow route. Not wanting to be caught out by Center Hotel, I would imagine, is what he's worried about. Some smokes off North Hotel. Gonna have Woods 43 rotating down. No one really around to catch him pushing down, but Punisher should be hearing these footsteps right about now. And a little bit more trading fire between Icy Woods and Brisser here. He's got to stay tucked in, and there's no real reason to peek this right now. He's got Punisher covering that approach, but...
Wow, Killinger. Yeah, Killinger threading the needle somehow. I don't know how those shots landed, but Woods is going to try and push off of it in the trade on the bottom floor. Does put Beginners into a 4v3.
Says Woods shot himself at the end there. Not sure how that happened, but the trade does come off. Quickly, Smoils finds Bagul in Center Hotel, and now...
Here comes the push.
Now the push is in. Icy Woods finds that down, and there's just one member left. Against 4 beginners. The res is going to come out, but not sure it's going to help very much, as Icy Woods still trained on this position.
Doesn't see Bruiser there.
I'm not sure how they're not spotting each other. Shots ring out, and there it is. Bruiser going down. Finally, Kev with the kill on Mike, and beginners take map 2 and the series. 4-0 and 8-0 respectively. A blowout indeed for the EU today, folks.
Not exactly what I was anticipating coming into cast the matchup today. I was hoping French Onward Union would show a little bit more of that Season 7, end of Season 7 shine. But it is hard to come out of the gate. We still are early in Season 8, only in week 2. And play against beginners and play well like that is not, they were playing that kind of play style after being honed in and working on their strategy a whole season. So definitely just a little bit different focus levels here today as beginners. Yeah, 8-0 right now.
Really just running away with it.
Head on over to our third map, which is going to be Suburbia, the close quarters map that I assure you will still last 6.5 minutes.
I was gonna say running away really slowly with it. Really just the running away at an EU pace with this matchup. Yeah, this will be the first time these two teams square off in Suburbia in an official match, so maybe a little bit of fresh air is what French Onward Union needs. I mean, I found that playing the same maps against the same teams really does not breed good gameplay. You want to kind of shake things up every now and again and see if there are weak spots for the enemy teams on other maps. I mean, it doesn't make any sense not to try. Obviously, some teams just opting for maps that they don't prefer, but I can't imagine that of the, 9 maps there are, that you don't prefer more than 4 of them.
Maybe it's just time to start to hone in the strategy on some of those lesser chosen maps, and I think that would be the best way to throw beginners off, because I think you're right. You're just, at this point, all 4 of those maps are beginners maps against French Onward Union because they have played them so much. It's not like either one of those teams is unfamiliar with playing them or how to face off against each other. So yeah, Subway, Suburbia, Cargo, Tanker, those kinds of picks are going to be the best ways, I think, to win against beginners.
Yeah, the unknown is what you want to focus on when coming up against some of these top tier teams, because sometimes they just won't even, they'll prepare based on what you've already played, and what you tend to play more often. So throwing a curveball in there could definitely get them off their game enough to try to capitalize on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see French Onward Union picking up a round or two here to soften the MMR blow a touch. But ultimately, I think with beginners having these 2 rounds before building up their confidence, I can't imagine they're going to want to give away the 3rd map either.
We'll see how things shake out. Not getting any roster adjustments from either one of the teams. And all 5 are all 10, excuse me, are in the lobby and ready to go. So should be getting into this close quarters battle any minute. I would like to see beginners play it fast, but I imagine they won't, considering that their slow play style has definitely paid off for them against FOU. Why change? Why fix something that ain't broken?
A little bit of a false start there, but team should be readying up any moment now. Yeah, I mean, I do think we might see some fast play. I think this is a good opportunity for beginners to practice that style, right? Now that there's no pressure for losing the match overall, we could be seeing a bit of a shakeup. But yeah, I mean, those 2 maps especially lend themselves to that slow play style more than most. But, I think of it this way. It's just more Onward for people to hang around for, and who can really complain about that?
Absolutely. Getting into our final map of the series, map number 3 on Suburbia. Beginners starting it off on the offense, and we'll see how things shake up if they decide to stay at spawn for the first 10 minutes, or the first 4 minutes, or what the strategy will be here. A lot of pre-fire coming in, and French Onward Union going to invest heavily in the objective building, putting 4 there and 1 outside. So 3 inside up in the 2-story and 1 on the front porch.
This heavily stacked house. I always love this. I don't know if the defense works well or not. I think it is very team dependent, but I love watching the offense trying to get rid of everybody in the house. It is probably the most exciting part of the Suburbia play, is this house objective and how the offense finds their way through it. I'm excited to see what beginner's approach looks like. I mean, obviously we're not seeing anything like shield play, which you would normally want to use for this approach. But beginner's already setting up the kill box. Seeing if they can get any early picks. Really, Bagul the only one easily susceptible.
Yeah, I still think they're gonna wait 2.5 minutes before they push this building.
I think you're correct. I think that it will also depend on whether or not an early pick comes out. But I don't think it's going to shift the balance too much in either direction. Nade coming out from Toxics there, not really going to be effective there. Smiles making the sound.
Jeez.
As if he has
hardly
gone down.
convincing.
Yeah, a little bit lazy. We expect better from you, Smiles. You should know that by now.
They're 8-0 right now. I don't think he feels like putting in maximum effort to the fake death sound.
It's practice. You got to practice doing that sound. It's just like any other skill in Onward.
I think Dante should add in alternate death sounds that are lazy death sounds. That make it so that it's easier to fake, so you can have like sometimes someone dies and they're like, oh, ow, and that's like their death sound, and it's an in-game one.
That would be a pretty hilarious game to cast.
And 3 minutes on the clock, and they're starting to make their push, so that was a minute off. Well, they're not making their push yet. They're getting closer to making their push.
Yeah, they're at least touching the center house now, which is a good... It's a big upgrade from the 3-minute mark. You know what I want is that I want that Peter Griffin, stubs his toe sound for a death. That's kind of what I'm looking for from Onward.
If you're down, that's what it is. It just keeps going.
Yeah, it's just the whole time you're down. Yeah, just constantly.
Icy Woods finds that back defender out of Bagul, and it's a first kill of the round. 2:20 in, so I was pretty close. Pretty spot on, and now 2 minutes left. They are finally making their move. They've sat around long enough, waited for nothing long enough, and they're finally making their entry. Toxic catches one. Kev goes down as well, and that's 2 quickly picked up for beginners, and it's a 3v3 just like that. And they still have 3 inside a building, so French Town are looking good right now.
Yeah, they've got the advantage. They've got to watch out for this equipment usage. I imagine we're going to see at least 1 or 2 frags still tossed up there. But now with Icy Woods in the front yard of the spawn house, there's no spot safe. He is going to opt to go upstairs, which is the right call to make. An easy way to catch people rotating once the rest of your offense pushes upstairs. Nothing super surprising here. But a minute and a half left, and definitely not going to be questioning beginners' time utilization in this series. So far, they have been spot on. No rounds ending late because of mismanaged time yet, but it has been close. And now the suppressing fire coming in. Smoils should be linking up with Killinger here to try to make this push upstairs. The grenade comes in. It's good. And 2 members just like that from French Abu Union are down and out. Punisher rushed and completed by Killinger at the end there. Beginners grab themselves that first round win.
Yeah, it's times like these that I wish round timers were a touch shorter on some of these smaller maps, because they absolutely did not need. I mean, that could have been done at the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, I don't know what benefit there is to waiting that long. I genuinely don't understand. For long maps, absolutely. I totally get it. There's a ton of ground to cover. There's a lot of different angles to watch. There can be a lot of shifts in the defense you may not know. But on Suburbia, the fact that you can make it from spawn to spawn in about 15 seconds means there's really not a whole lot of real estate for you to have to cover. By the time they were in the playground and on lane 2, like, they had covered 85% of the map. Yeah, I agree. 4-minute mark is when that exact same push should have happened.
But who are we to talk, Noman? Because they are the ones that got the round, and they are the ones that are beating French Onward Union 9-0 right now. Personally, I think if I was going up against FOU, I would not be having such success. So their strats definitely are working for them. They're just not the fastest of strats, you know what I mean? They're definitely patient with how they move, and
yeah,
it gets exciting at the end, but it's a bit of a snore to watch them prepare for that attack.
It's definitely a personal, it's a personal thing. Like, I have patience issues. That's why I'm on an aggressive team. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. I'm sure there are EU folks in the chat who are like, well, we need all that time to communicate and set up, and I get it.
Give me 8 minutes.
Yeah, I get it, but yeah, the action coming at you in the last 2 minutes isn't that big of a deal. It is hard to cast, I will say that. It is a difficult, you can't really have all your eyes in all the places where some of these pushes happen. While we wait for the teams to kick off, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Today's going to be a sweet, sweet Onward day. We've got another cast coming up in the afternoon for you, so don't stray too far from your PC or television or Roku or whatever you're on. We got some great games still coming at you. This time it's going to be an NA matchup, looking like I think SMC Animal House 4:30 Pacific is what we are thinking about.
Yep. I'll probably be combined. We'll be joining forces for one game instead of two later on today. So yeah, it'll be fun to hop into that SMC matchup. It'll be an entirely different pace, which will be a nice it'll be a nice change of pace. It'll be nice to have that a little bit more of that quick style of play.
Yeah, I'm always excited to watch SMC's grenade usage. That makes for some pretty great casts. Beginners looking like they're down a man right now. Still waiting for their fifth to join the lobby.
I've been surfing the roofs. I'm getting real good.
I see Woods. Yeah, I'm making circles here on the map. I would hesitate to put us into intermission because it seems like every time the casters do that, players will ready up and play.
We'll just crank the music and put us on mute as we wait for what should be a brief few minutes and beginners get themselves readied up. And we are back. It looks like the lobby issues have been solved. We are here with FOU and Beginners. Map number 3. It's been Beginners series the entire time. Now for round number 2. We'll see if FOU can finally get themselves on the board. A very similar strategy from Beginners. 3 inside, 1 on the porch, although Killinger's utilizing that fence, interestingly enough, for cover. I think that's fully penetrable, so that's kind of an odd choice.
It is not. It's a good spot. I mean, it gives you a lot of visibility into the playground. We've seen this before against Globo Chem was the last time I noticed this spot last season. Some pretty good positions. I can't imagine they're going to give up too much ground. That's C4 not really in a great spot. Smoyle's tossing it up on the roof here.
Ooh, yeah, a bit of an overtoss there. I don't think that... I mean, maybe it will... I think he wanted it on the wall, up on that second story instead, because then it would catch the head of Toxic or anybody there, but I wonder if that ledge will prevent the explosion. It looks like it would from killing anybody, but explosions are wonky in this game sometimes, so it might still be effective up there.
Yeah, definitely. Beginners now all stacked inside
Oh, wow.
the objective building.
Well, I wonder why they decided to do that, why they went for this rotation. They had 2 outside, one by tank and one by the fence, and then they suddenly just converged here. Maybe with those smokes, they felt the push was coming.
Yeah, I think you're going to be worried about frag grenades when you're out there, right? It is a pretty common spot to chuck a nade in the front of the house just to get anybody on the porch or in that spot Killinger was in. So it's not surprising. It's just, I wonder what the efficacy level of having that many people in one confined space is. I mean, obviously it has worked in the past, so it's not that it's necessarily bad. I just wonder if overcommitting is really necessary.
It's like Mike still concerned there could be one up in that 2-story defending that backside, and they haven't really confirmed or done any good work to make sure nobody's there yet, so they are very worried that they still have one invested across the street. Toxic and Bruiser right on the house here, and a nade could come out from Toxic into that window, and I think it'd be pretty dang effective if he could just... I mean, it has to be a perfect toss.
Yeah, very tough toss to make. Icy Woods finding Bagul as he tries to make his cross towards their Volk spawn. French Onward Union now a man down. They're going to have to find some way. And the nade here. Oh, just a little bit too short, unfortunately.
Oh!
Wait.
Like I said, explosions are wonky in this game. It somehow catches one from Beginners.
How? In what universe?
I think, okay, so I think the nade went down into the bottom floor, and his leg was clipping through the floor, and he got hit by the nade on the bottom floor.
Interesting.
I think there was a lot of wonky things that just happened right there for that kill to go through.
You know what? It may just be a...
Could be a caster bug, too. Yeah. That's the more likely probability. And here comes the push. FOU with 2 down now on Beginners. They're really managing to pressure nicely here. They have the suppressive fire from Mike up onto both these windows, so Woods, Smoyles, and Kev can't really afford to peek too hard out of them. And Bruiser and Punisher here are going to be making their way in from the patio, and Toxic with another onto Woods as he tries to toss a nade out. Beginners are on the back foot for the first time in this series, and now's the time to send all 4 up this stairwell.
Bruiser finds Kevin. Now Smoyle's the last one.
Oof.
Defending versus 4 members of French Onward Union. Punisher almost finding the rounds there. They've got to make this coordinated. It's a 1.5 minutes left. There's not a cap opportunity. They just got to go for this 1 kill. Push up the stairs is coming. Smoyle's going to be ready for the first one. They need to start They need to move together on this, but Brizzer's going to be the one that finds the kill.
The peeker advantage coming into play there, and FOU finally getting one on the board and is now tied up on Subway 1-1. So maybe they can take a map.
They do have to... I mean, again, just like in quarantine, they've got to get these defensive rounds every time from this point on. That Marsoc win, definitely beneficial to keep it on their side. They just have to stop beginners from doing something like capping on them, which we saw in Q1 in that first round.
Probably get that minute and a half timer here too, because both these squads are definitely hashing out their strategies. I do think we are going to get caught up in another bit of a delay here potentially, as FOU are down 1 on the roster.
Now some connectivity issues, I think, coming into play. Icy Woods having some issues earlier as well.
Of course, it happens on the final round, right? Like we
Yeah,
couldn't keep the nice. We had a good pace going for those last 2 maps on Quarantine and Downfall. I suppose mostly because of beginners just really methodically taking those rounds. You know, they utilized all of the time. They did not lose a single round and consistently continued to kill French Onward Union and get that early lead. And if you're watching against one of these teams, I just don't think that picking Downfall against beginners is a great option, really. I mean, they are so... I don't know. I think the close quarters maps are definitely the better option, and it's proving true here as FOU managed to finally get on the board.
Maybe that'll light the fire that they need to try to take this third map, and then we could see something similar to the Season 7 French Onward Union in terms of the score line that we had.
Does look like we have the 5th French Onward Union teammates in the lobby. And here we go. Finally, another round. Map 3, round 3.
Early pre-fire from Smoils, not going to find anybody on the defense out. Now Beginners looking a little bit faster this time. I see Woods, Killinger all pushing up very heavily. Pre-fire coming out through lane 2 already. Some C4 detonations. Not going to find anybody. I see Woods just barely missing
Those
a couple
bullets.
of rounds out from Toxics there. Toxics finds one. Finds a second. 2 downs now. No confirmations out. These should be reses coming out. He does not have a good sight line on them from here, but Icy Woods has to be careful when he makes this cross to try to get the res.
Nice kills there from Woods, and a nice air burst from Icy Woods downing Toxic here on the corner. He should be able to get this res out and turn it into a 4v5. The comms here from Toxic should ID, though, that res is there. Good smokes coming in. Nice. Toxic backup finds another kill. Maybe not expecting the res to come in here from Captain Punisher. And there is Beginners going down hard as they try to make this entryway. 4 minutes on the clock. The first time they've tried to push up fast, and it doesn't pay off for them. FOU take the round 2-1.
Yeah, they were... I mean, they had the right idea there. Just equipment did not work out for them. Those picks from Toxic in lane 1 working out very well in their favor, slowing up the Beginners, forcing them to try to get the reses off instead of making their push. Not a lot of smoke coordination either, and French Onward Union are up for the first time on a map this series.
Taken them a bit, but they finally figured out that the close quarters is where it's at. I think now, you know, like I said, Subway and Tanker, I think, are some great maps for FOU to challenge Beginners on in the future. I would love to see the next matchup against them. I mean, imagine an EU match on Tanker. I don't think I've seen one in quite a while on there.
I mean, this is a good example of how the smaller maps clearly are where Beginners start to show a little bit of their, you know, the chinks in the armor, so to speak. And this should be a good signal to French Onward Union to start practicing those smaller maps and trying to get Beginners into more situations like this where you're forcing them into, you know, quick play and making mistakes.
Round number 4 of map 3. We'll see if FOU can continue their Marsoc push.
A little bit of discord around the Beginners camp. Some disagreements about who is in what spot in the pre-fire on both sides, finding purchase as 2 members of French Onward Union are down and out. Yeah, those are some practice lanes. Very dangerous pre-fire to be running into. Something that, personally, I think needs to be fixed on Suburbia. There should never be a lane that goes that far across the map that allows you to pick somebody off. We've seen that. We saw that last season with Boss Fight making similar plays in the championship series. So I think somebody at the devs for that one. Mike finds Icy Woods in his lane 3 position on the porch, and French Onward Union evening things out a little bit more 4v3.
Where is there? There he is, Toxic here, tucked in alongside Punisher in the center lane. Toxic inching his way here. 4 minutes left on the clock. Beginners tucked in into a 4v3. Only have one really guarding this far east lane, so if Kev goes down, opportunities are open for them to smoke and cross. I don't know how much utility is left in the hands of French Onward Union, though. It is only up to Mike, who is pillaging his teammate right now and is going to toss out some smokes. A little haphazardly, though. Those could have been utilized to cross that east street. Not poorly placed, though. They should deny a little bit of vision from Woods, but if he just holds his angle, those smokes aren't going to do a lot. And Kev actually taking some shots at Mike. Nearly goes down himself, but picks up the kill. And FOU now into a 2v4. Beginners looking to even things back out. 2-2 here.
A bit of pre-fire there. Toxic's position still unknown, but he's going to have a hard time making this push out. I would imagine that, excuse me, the Dr. Killinger Smoils combo here is going to be a quick peek if shots ring out on that side. So Punisher's going to have to find Woods, and that falls apart as I say it now. Just up to Toxic's to try to find his approach here in lane 1. I don't think it's going to find a lot of love, and I think he's feeling the same thing as he slowly backs out of lane 1 and decides to rotate.
What is his plan of action, I wonder? 2 minutes left. He's sort of just doing some calisthenics in the corner here.
A little bit of limbo. Somebody make this a clip and then put Mambo number 5 behind it. And I think we'll have our new internet sensation.
I think we have a pretty good one. It's been going on for a bit now. It's definitely, I think it's on the devs' radar, so hopefully we'll have a fix for the infamous what will be now the infamous Onward limbo. Toxic trying to find something through these shrubs, but Smoils isn't peeking his body around that berm, and Killinger may be able to spot this as his head is peeked up over that shrub. Super hard to identify. I don't know if he's looking at Toxics, though. 38 seconds left, and there's Smoils peeking. Sees him underneath the Humvee, actually. A nice shot from Beginners. They're not going to let this one go easy for FOU, and we're tied up 2-2.
I mean, French Onward Union had the right idea there with the setup. I mean, the equipment just not landing the way they needed it to, and came down to not really landing shots. I think most of those were actual, you know, sort of shot-for-shot trades between defense and offense. Beginners winning that one out, but we'll see if French Onward Union can keep that bulk dream alive as they look to try to take map 4. Or map 3. Map 4, yeah. We're on map 4. I'm a map ahead of everybody. The objective now moving to red car in the north. So we should be seeing a pretty similar defense and attack. from both sides. I wonder if beginners will opt for a quicker push on this one as well. The problem with taking this one slower is you give your defense quite a bit of time to set up on their angles. Both of these north objectives are real problematic for that, and they can be tough to unseat if you don't have the utilization of frags, or I should say successful utilization of frags, to try to get the defenders out of these sort of tight spots on the porches.
Diving into round number 5. Map number 2. Map 3, sorry. Hard to do math sometimes.
I already said it's map 4, so.
Oh, well,
At
it's
the very
literally
least,
impossible.
It feels like map 4, yeah. We're going on almost 2 hours here on the series, but French Onward Union, I mean, they can get this win.
There's more
would be great.
pre-fire. Unreal. You gotta be so mad of your FOU to be dying like this so early. Just rounds getting thrown through the wood and you're dying to them. And here beginners trying to step up the pace again. Pressure onto Toxic. Smokes out early. A revive coming in from Bagul. So those early pre-fires not paying off. And beginners trying to practice the faster pace here, but ultimately losing one early, losing 2 early there as Toxic still tucked in, finds another, finds Killinger as well, trying to get Toxic. A little heal for himself there, and French Onward Union 5 alive to only 2 on beginner's side. And a nade coming up and out, pretty long toss, holy moly.
Oh my goodness. A little earlier, and Smoils could have been caught by that pretty easily. But yeah, that team kill starting beginners off on the wrong foot. Woods 43 finding the head of Kev through the bushes, I believe. And then Toxic with 2 to clean up on the lane 1 approach. Now, looking like French Onward Union could be grabbing this map. Toxic's not aware of Woods 43's position. Got to be careful here. Woods, I think, did spot him out.
It's super hard to see Woods here also on this patio. He's using the flowers to disguise himself, and he's just patiently waiting for Toxic to peek again. Because anyone else check this? I guess Punisher could, but he's not looking here.
Once the shots ring out, he should have it should be a relatively quick refrag, and now Punisher and Mike both aware. Shots coming out of lane 1. I don't think they know it came off that porch, though.
That was really important to get that pick, because now it does allow for the rotation to come in from his teammate Smoils, and Smoils usually has some suppressive fire to loan, so maybe he can put some rounds down towards Punisher. But it's going to be hard to deal with Mike and Bag, who are on the opposite sides of the they're on the same side, excuse me, of the objective as Woods is. He's really going to have to expose himself to get the angle he wants to kill these guys.
This rotation by Punishers, I don't know. It seems unnecessary to me. You really did have most of that angle covered, and the OBJ is not... It's not at the white car. There's no real reason to have to reinforce this side, but now Woods 43 did spot out that cross, and I'd be surprised if he's not aware of Punisher's position here.
Nade almost killing Woods there if it was any closer, but not quite far enough to be effective. And Smoils may be at risk here. Punisher peeking through the crack in the wood here to see if he can get Smoils, and he does down him.
Now it's just up to Woods 43. He is aware that Punisher is there, just not quite sure where. The mistake here would be thinking that that was the shots that rang out early on and then pushing on that. But looks like Woods has to move. Regardless, if he peeks right now, he should have a pretty decent angle on him, but Mike will be hearing those footsteps any moment.
He does, and he shoots through the shrubs, and down goes Woods 43 and C4. Celebratory detonation there, and FOU again keep the lead and go up 3-2. They might be able to take a map from beginners here, and it's definitely a nice way to lighten that MMR blow after losing 4-0 on 2 maps.
That's exactly what they want, and I'd be surprised if we don't see Suburbia now in the rotation of the maps between these two teams. Beginners have to hold this defense and then put up, what's the last? Oh, the burning house objective will likely be the last one. So that is the only one we have. No, actually, we have not seen garage yet. So garage or burning, I believe, are the remaining two objectives that we might see as the final round approaches. I can't imagine beginners won't take this defensive round. So I think it's going to really come down to how FOU holds this, whatever the final objective is. It looks like all five are readied up, so we shouldn't be too far away. And there's the sounds there to mark the start of this
False start.
second.
Oh,
Second, no, it's a correct start. The second to last, potentially last, if French Hour Union can put together an offensive push here for a victory. They've had one already on the center house OBJ. So they've definitely got the capability to pull out the offensive win, but this is, I mean, these two north objectives are just so difficult for Marsoc to really find any purchase on without, you know, a little bit of luck being on your side with equipment thrown and grenade downs and sort of pre-fire. I would be shocked to not see some equipment being tossed into these lanes by the beginners to try to catch a couple of them out.
Yeah, nice frag here down this lane. Could get Bruiser and Mike. Kev actually getting a little aggressive, catches Captain Punisher on the backside, and a nice way for beginners to open up the round. 4v5 now.
There's that nade, but just a little short and a little wide. Does not find either member in lane one.
Very fortunate for FOU. Here comes the pre-fire.
Moyles tucked in just right there. Not going to be phased by this pre-fire. The nade a little short as well. So two pieces of equipment wasted there for the push, and beginners still 5 strong. 4.5 minutes left.
Everybody perched up, guarding their respective lanes, and FOU, interestingly enough, have one still invested all the way back at spawn building to watch the backside.
Now, they've sent Toxics all the way back into the spawn house. I wonder if he was just looking for flankers, having lost a member early to that playground position. Now he's having to sync back up with lane 3 here. Bagul's push. Shots going out towards lane 1 do not land.
Don't know if slow and steady will pay off here. Great smoke, though, denies Smoyle's vision really nicely. And Mike and Bruiser are making their way over with some suppressive fire over the heads of Woods and Killinger to keep them ducked down. Oh, wow. Woods, 43, not afraid to peek up, though. Does catch one. And this is a nice coordinated push from FOU. The suppressive fire from both sides. A heal on the Toxic there. And a nade nearly catching out him as well. But he's safe, along with Bagul. And they're trying to make their entry into one of these lanes, but they just can't find any kills or any picks.
Yeah, they've got to find at least one here to make this a little bit easier of a push. That smoke going just absolutely too far, all the way into the corner of the map. Not going to be very useful there. And Killinger punishes Toxic. Icy Woods hits Bagul, and now it's just one member of FOU on the offense remaining. Brazier in lane 1.
2:12 on the clock, so he has a bit of time to work with. He's going to rotate around to the other side, but beginners have not lost a single one, so there's no weak points in their defense for him to kind of rotate around to. Any way he tries to approach in, he's going to go up against one or two people shooting at him. The pre-fire from Brazier almost cost him his life, as some pre-fire of Woods almost hits him.
I think would it be considered post-fire?
Post-fire, yeah. Post-fire. Trying to find a better predictive fire.
Woods 43 trained in on that angle. This is not the way Bruiser is going to find his way into this objective. And honestly, I mean, the best approach really is still lane 1, but even that is, it's all relative in terms of ease. All angles covered by at least 2 sets of eyes at this point, and 50 seconds left in the round. It's going to take a miracle for this to be a Marsoc win, so we will likely be going into that final defensive round for French Onward Union as they look for this third map win.
Does try and cross. 3 eyes trained on him, maybe even 4, and Smoyles is the one that catches him. Beginners hanging on to their defense pretty consistently, and we go into a 3-3 tie for map number 3.
Yeah, the defense lucking out with the OBJ positioning, as it is the spawn house garage on the south side. Will afford French Onward Union a pretty good objective to defend. A relatively, I mean, I'm not going to say simple. Nothing is really simple in this game, but definitely one of the least aggressively defended positions. You can really kind of set up, watch your angles. So I'm sure we'll be seeing beginners taking this one down to the wire as they check every possible angle before they make their final approach.
You know, the fast play has not been working for beginners. They have tried to put it into use. They've tried to get those smokes out onto those lanes and push up through them early. But that's why, really, I guess, French Onward Union are still in this, is because beginners have taken it so slow, so fast on those Marsoc rounds. It looks a little bit unpracticed, honestly, and FOU are capitalizing off some mistakes on the, some gaps in the smoke, some missing pre-fire, and I wonder how beginners are going to attack this now that it is the map on the line for this round, and like you said, it is a harder objective to approach from. I would be surprised to see beginners try and play this one fast as well. I'd anticipate a bit of a slower round here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, they've got a lot of stuff. They basically have 90% of the map right off the bat. I can't imagine FOU is going to be pushing out, looking for any picks. They want this win, so they're going to be tucked in. It's just going to be up to beginners and whether or not they can catch all the cheeky little spots that they're going to be in. Yeah, like you said, I mean, it doesn't seem like they've had that coordination on Marsoc, the beginners that is, in the fast play of these last couple of rounds, and definitely showing why they take their time and are methodical in their approach. That's why picking Downfall against them was such an interesting choice by FOU. I mean, you had to feel so confident coming into
really
coming into that map. Knowing what most of us know about the beginners and Downfall, it just does not seem like the type of map you would make as your first pick. Looks like FOU missing a member once again, having some connectivity issues in this lobby. We are just waiting on that final member to join.
Oh, the tech difficulties. Really stretching out this final map. This is longer than the entire series has been. This one map. We got done with Quarantine and Downfall in under an hour, and here we've been on Suburbia for nearly an hour and 10.
Yeah, sometimes they are unavoidable, unfortunately. This new hot fix that recently dropped, I believe on Friday, coming with a few issues of its own, but overall, I think players have been noticing improvements, so hopefully as we get closer and closer to championship time, we'll be on a much more stable, much less memory-heavy build of Onward. Should help a lot of these players with some of these connectivity issues, but yeah, just waiting on that one final member before we bring you this final round. Let us know in the chat. You think FOU's going to take this Suburbia round? It's the perfect time.
Does look like we have that fifth one in the lobby. Should be diving into this final round shortly. Thank you for everybody who has been tuning in and hanging out and watching the EU action. If you are just stopping by, it's not quite over yet. We have the final round coming up, but beginners have won the series pretty handily, winning those first two maps 4-0 in fast fashion with a cap on map 1. And now we are here on Suburbia, all tied up, and beginners are going on the offensive again. They haven't had much success on Marsoc on Suburbia, although they did win their first round on Marsoc.
It was the second round of the map, but yes, it was their first Marsoc outing on that center house, OBJ.
Yeah, and that one they played slowly. We were criticizing them for playing it slowly, but you know, it's their style that they are used to, and it definitely shows that it's how they like to play, because they won that center objective playing it slow. Then they tried to play other ones fast that honestly I think might have been better off played slow and didn't have much success. So we'll see if they decide to slow play this final one. I think we should be getting in to see that shortly.
I do think that those fast rounds were likely because they had won. They want to put it into practice in these, sort of sweaty matchups, if I'm going to use a colloquial term for it, in these really sort of intense league matches, and putting those newer tactics or less often used tactics into play. I think we'll see them go back to their standard style here as they look to close out map 3. And the round is finally underway. The final map of this matchup. Let's get some hype for FOU and or beginners in the channel, depending on your personal preference.
Yeah. We'll see who comes out ahead. Pre-fire coming out from beginners. It's been effective as heck the last few rounds, but I think French Onward Union are on to that now, not exposing themselves to any of those vulnerable angles.
And that slow play not really coming into play yet. Bagul has to stay patient here on lane 4 as Icy Woods is peeking these shrubs, just looking for that pick. Kev on the slide, looking for any late rotations from the defense. I wouldn't imagine he would find any as French Onward Union is tucked in. Man, I'm having a hard time saying their full name. I'm just gonna start saying
FOU.
FOU. It's just like a tongue twister for me today.
Nades coming in from both sides. Bagul's really tossing those suckers far today. But yeah, they definitely are playing this one a bit slower, staying back on their spawn lane. Making sure nobody's going to push up and get aggressive on FOU. This is a pretty common strat, too, to get aggressive into this playground. But they had already cleared playground like a minute ago, so it's odd to see them drop back and then play it again. Kind of looking for picks, but...
Yeah, the biggest worry for Playground is obviously that spawn house position. They've got to be careful for the windows, and I think spending enough time watching those, they should have identified. Nobody's really peeking out here. Icy Woods, the only one potentially could get caught out here if Bagul decides to peek up and over.
Icy Woods inching forward on that pre-fire. Bagul still crouched. Captain Punisher and Mike not really have... They don't have line of sight here. Bagul's the only one that's going to defend against Woods, and Woods will eventually expose himself to an angle that Bagul can see him on, so Woods has to be cautious of Bagul here.
Yeah, he did just check that angle,
oh my
but
gosh.
They are just inches away from each other. Some pre-fire from Smoils onto that spawn house. As soon as I see Woods pops up for shots, he should go down quickly.
And he has the LMG, so I expect some suppressive fire to come in here. And Bagul now, relatively exposed. I think the leg can be seen. He does see Icy Woods now, and the shots to the back. French Onward Union looking good as they have 2 kills on the beginners and are into a 5v3.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want. And Icy Woods not checking that angle, assuming he had cleared it entirely. Bagul in a great spot there to get that pick. Now 2.5 minutes left. Beginner's going to have to formulate a push with just 3. They still have quite a bit of equipment utilization left in this round. I think we've only seen 1 or 2 smokes come out. Killinger second guessing the rotation there back to lane 3.
Smoils creeping and crawling ever closer. I think you hear his bruiser up in that 2-story. He's definitely looking this way.
There's enemy on the playground somewhere.
Kev and Killinger taking control of bottom stairs. They're going to try and smoke and get up to that 2-story to deal with Bruiser. I don't think that smoke's a good one. It's actually really just denying vision on Killinger.
Yeah, he's got to clear this upstairs if they have any hope, and Smoils gets the team kill. Unfortunately, now it's 2v4.
Yikes. And I mean, it's unfortunate because Killinger did take that top floor. So they have full control of this center building to sort of pressure the spawn like Smoils is doing now as he gets another, and FOU now down to 3. Minute left on the clock.
They've got one way off objective, but Punisher here is going to be sort of the last resort. Should be a stop on Caps as Smoils finds the backside. Bagul running the flank, not going to work out, and FOU just has to sort of tuck in and watch an angle here. Try to stop the cross as 45 seconds tick down.
FOU looking to secure a map here in the series. They've been beaten hard on the first 2 ones, Quarantine and Downfall. And here we are in Suburbia. Killinger making his approach, gonna cross the lane. Punisher with some nice shots, and Smoils does find one. Can't Smoils get the other? Mike here looking for the kill. Doesn't see Smoils cross. 15 seconds left. Can Smoils punch in the code in time on objective? He's looking for the kills, and he's not gonna find it. Oh, he does! He backdoors Mike from the outside, and beginners do not let FOU get a single map in the series and go up 4-3.
Wow, and that is real surprising to me. They were looking so strong there for so long, but opting not to tuck in and watch angles, deciding to peek out, losing a couple early. I think Smoils catching Bagul there is really what undid the FOU defense, because he wasn't able to catch the backside as they pushed up lane 3. And they're able to secure themselves all 3 maps in this series. Definitely an interesting one, and a long one at that.
Yeah, we are wrapping it up. If you want, Noman, you got any final words?
Well, I've got tons to say to the folks at home, but thank you most of all for tuning in and watching with us. We do appreciate it. You know, we don't do it unless you guys are here. That's kind of the whole point. So we do thank you for that. Thank you for the clips in the chat, all that stuff. We use that for V-Respawn and other things. So thank you for participating that way. Thanks for the subs and the bits. I think I saw a couple come in there from a few of you. So thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, just we're not done yet for the day, really. We've got more coming at you later, so stick around. But NightFighter, take us out.
Yeah, thank you to our sponsors, VR Cover and ProTube VR. We appreciate you guys supporting the league and providing all sorts of really cool prizes for our #1 VRML champion when it comes down to those tournament times. And also, if you want to get involved in the league, head on over to vrmasterleague.com/onward, where you can get all your Twitch, Twitter, and Discord links so you can get a part of the community, register for a team, or just get playing into some scrims. That's where you're going to want to go to do it. With that, we'll be signing off. My name is NightFire with 2 E's, my co-caster, Noam with a 4. We will see you later today. Make sure to stop in for more Onward action.